Speaking of other stupid news, the Miss America competition has now decided that they are no longer going to be having a swimsuit competition. So Gretchen Carlson, who's on the board over there, she's a former Miss America herself, I believe, and she, of course, was the subject of a Me Too scandal because Roger Ailes had allegedly sexually harassed her. Well, Gretchen Carlson comes forward and she says, we are now going to do a Miss America 2.0 makeover. Oh, yeah.
So we are no longer a pageant, we are a competition. We will no longer judge our candidates on their outward physical appearance. That's huge.
That's huge.
And that means that we will no longer have a swimsuit competition, and so we're no longer judging women when they come out in their chosen attire, their evening wear, whatever they choose to do. It's going to be what comes out of their mouth that we're interested in when they talk about their social impact initiatives.
Oh, that's really what it's going to be about. So Miss America 2.0 is actually going to be like the Kennedy Center honors, and Madeleine Albright will be your Miss America 2018 because we're no longer taking physical appearance into account. Hillary Clinton finally has a shot at being beloved by America. She can be Miss America 2018 if she so chooses. She can walk out wearing a giant trench coat, and she can be awarded this because physical appearance no longer counts. Okay, so here's why this is so dumb. Am I upset about this, by the way? No, I'm not upset about this. In fact, I think the Miss America competition was always stupid, right? I'm the guy who, when I was a teenager, used to unsubscribe from the swimsuit edition of Sports Illustrated because I thought it was basically softcore pornography, right? I mean, the fact is that when you are looking at the Victoria's Secret catalog, when they have these Victoria's Secret models on the runway, people are not watching the Victoria's Secret fashion show for the fashion. Okay, if those were 400-pound women walking down the runway with Victoria's Secret fashion on, the ratings would be nil. It's an excuse for dudes to watch scantily clad, beautiful women walk around, and then they can always say to their wives, well, I was just watching because I really love the fashion aspect. By the way, women, if you are taken in by this, your boy's lying to you, okay? He's not watching the Victoria's Secret fashion show because he is mostly interested in the new styles of bra and panties that are coming out. He's thinking about what happens when those bra and panties are not part of the show at all, okay? That's just the way that men work. Note to women all over the world. The same thing was true of the Miss America pageant. So, as a religious person and an advocate of modesty for both men and women, I'm perfectly happy with there being no swimsuit competition in the Miss America pageant. I also will acknowledge that the Miss America competition was always about the swimsuit competition, okay? There's a reason that Miss America features a bunch of beautiful women and not a bunch of plus-size models or plus-size non-models who have done wonderful charity work. Mother Teresa was never going to be in the Miss America 2.0 pageant. It's not because she wasn't a charitable human being. It's because the Miss America pageant was not about that. And here's the part that I find puzzling. So I understand my own perspective on this. I'm a religious person. I think it's stupid to judge women by their bodies. That doesn't mean that when you're entering a relationship, sexual attraction isn't important. It's deeply important. It's not to say that I don't think that people of all sexes should stay in shape. I think that they should to the best of their ability. It is to say, however, that I've always been an advocate for modesty because I think that if women want to be treated as more than pieces of meat by men, then it behooves them to understand how men think, and men tend to see scantily clad women in sexual ways. That's just the way that men think. That is nature. That is the way it works. So that means that if you put on a little bit more clothing, men are more likely to see you as a proper businesswoman, as opposed to if you walk into the office wearing a bra and panties, just telling you. Okay, men are not thinking about your capacity for social media marketing at that point. But here's where I find the arguments of the left kind of weird. So I've heard from the left that a woman wearing a bathing suit is actually empowering. That scantily clad women are empowering. That, in fact, Stormy Daniels is an example of female empowerment because she chooses to be a porn star and have sex with randos on camera. I've heard that this is the essence of female empowerment, and that if you say that acting immodestly is not female empowerment, it actually is degradation, and it is catering to the worst instincts of men and the most lewd instincts of men. If you say that, then you are anti-feminist, you're anti-female. But now I'm hearing that it's anti-feminist to allow the swimsuit competition to go forward. But I was under the impression that all these women consented to be part of the swimsuit competition, that this was something they wanted to do, that there wasn't, the leadership of the Miss America pageant wasn't down in the dressing room whipping the girls to get in their bathing suits, that the girls all chose to be part of this. You can't have it both ways, ladies. Okay, if you're going to suggest that it is female empowerment to get unclad whenever you please, then you can't then claim that you have done something feminist by telling women that they should no longer wear bathing suits and there shouldn't be a competition for bathing suits or anything like that. I like that. Maybe what they should have done is they should have said, listen, this is a consensual competition. We can go forward however we want. Just in the future, we're going to do evening gowns instead of bathing suits. By the way, it's a lie. The idea that they're going to award this to Madeleine Albright or Janet Napolitano or anybody else who is not of the most beautiful ilk is just silly. Okay, it's ridiculous. Rosie O'Donnell ain't winning the Miss America 2.0. It's not happening. It's going to be a beautiful woman from California who would look good in a bathing suit or an evening gown or in anything else. And anything else they say to you about this is a lie, but it's all It's all just silliness. It's all just silliness and demonstrates the internal contradictions inside the radical feminist movement.
This year, a countrywide conversation has taken place all over the place about how women are treated in the workforce. And now new concerns arising in a place that, well, relies on women to keep it going. The CEO of the Miss America organization, Sam Haskell, is under fire for shocking internal emails that he sent where he demeans women's appearances, intelligence, and criticizes their personal lives. Just take a look at what Mr. Haskell and a friend of his emailed back and forth to one another. I actually can't repeat it, so you're just going to have to read the words because, well, he's using the C word. You know what that is. Pretty bad stuff. And this is actually apparently the writer of this show that used that word. And, well, Sam Haskell went along with it and just kind of laughed it off. People are pretty upset. So upset that Dick Clark Productions, which was the production company and had a couple of board seats on the Miss America board, has cut ties with the organization since this story broke, though there are reports that they've known about the email for months. This story, you know, it hits a little close to home for me. I read it last night and felt horrible. Felt so sad for all these women. I was crowned Miss New Hampshire in 1993. And there's the video. Pageants like Miss America, I'll tell you, they come with a lot of positives, and there are a lot of good things about them, and they work for some people and are great opportunities for them. But it is not okay for anyone to talk about women like these people were talking about them. I mean, the very women that they're supposed to be supporting. Former Miss America board member Regina Hopper, she summed this up pretty perfectly. There's a quote from her in this article on the Huffington Post, and she says, "These young women put their heart and soul into being the best they can be, that the CEO of this organization would agree that that word," and you know what word I'm talking about, "is the perfect characterization of Miss America's," and then laugh. It's heartbreaking. Regina Hopper is right. It is heartbreaking. Joining me right now to discuss all of this, conservative political commentator Gina Loudon. Gina, you know, look, the Miss America pageant isn't for everyone. You know, people have asked me, would you let one of your daughters do it? And I say, no, I don't want them to do that. You know, hopefully they have different kinds of opportunities. But you know what? If they wanted to, so be it. Because if that's what excites someone and then they should have that opportunity. So let's get that out of the way, because a lot of people are saying, well, you know, this is just something that should go away. It's a relic. It's all of the past. There are still a lot of young women all over this country that enjoy competing in the system, and it's very helpful to a lot of them. However,
that's right.
When executives in the organization are exchanging emails back and forth about the women and referring to them in ways that we saw, what does it tell you? And what is the point that we have reached in a culture right now where I'm so happy that this is being exposed, but how does it change?
That's a great question, Trish. And, yeah, I'm so glad that you are personally addressing this, because I think you have such authority on this as someone who has actually competed in the system. And like you, I do believe that these platforms give young women, my daughter has competed in the same circuit, and they give young women an opportunity to develop their public speaking skills, their debate skills, just even their charitable platform for their future. So those things are all good things. We don't want to take anything away from that. But it is really important, I think, that we start to take a look at the way that women are being portrayed in our culture, and that we continue to have this conversation that it's just not okay to talk about women that way. I think this has been going on for a long time. I think nobody actually likes this. You could even tell in the email that we did see that perhaps Mr. Haskell wasn't even completely comfortable.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair.
It, you know,
I know him, and if you read those email exchanges, he's sort of trying to laugh it off, the bad behavior of another person, but we can't. Men and women together, you can't tolerate it. You can't laugh it off. You can't say ha ha ha. It's not okay.
No, and for a moment, people might say, oh, well, you know, this is adult women and they're just talking and this is guys talk back channel on an email. But, you know, we have really young girls competing in these pageants as well. And the bottom line is that this sort of language is not okay. But I think that we also have to be very careful about this sort of purging that is taking place in corporations across the country. And